Extreme Monsters Book 3. Meet Mr. Hydeous. Chapter 7. Crashed Ice Clash. The Noah's Vail Games was a youth competition. The events were big air skiing, crashed ice, super pipe, snowboarder, ice luge, and speed ice climbing. Unlike the larger extreme sports competitions, which included adult as well as kid competitors, the Noah's Vail Games took place on a single day to accommodate the school schedules of the participants. The events were well attended and well reported on by the media too, since many future world and Olympic champions got their starts here. The cash prizes were nothing to sneeze at either. Winter sports equipment was expensive, and winning prizes helped defray the costs. Big air skiing was the first event, though all the extreme monsters could ski with varying degrees of skill. None of them felt expert enough to enter big air. The extreme monsters were astonished to see Damon Christopher's favorite team penitentiary, Cletus and Clem, slide among the spectators. The Green Teens were also known as the Slime Brothers, for the multi-purpose slime that oozed from their palms. Even swathed in cold weather gear, Cletus and Clem shivered miserably. "What, not skiing?" Vail asked with a grin. Clem curled his lip. "No way." "You here to help Damon cheat?" Wolf growled. Cletus sneered. "Won't have to. You've seen Damon's new champion." "And you're not going to break Mr. Hydeous' neck?" Wolf asked. They'd certainly tried to break Wolf's neck back when he was Damon's new champion. "No way," Clem muttered. "Without Hydeous, it'd be us up there risking our necks and freezing our tails off." "Worse than we are now," Cletus grumbled. "I just got one tiny thing to do here." Clem grinned snidely. "Cletus and I drew straws. My bro lost, so Cletus has to hold Mr. Hydeous' belay rope." Cletus snorted as Mr. Hydeous posed at the top of the ski jump, taking a swig from his yellow painted sports bottle. "That pointy-eared jerk may be safe enough for frostbite," he said, "but that don't mean I have to like him." The extreme monsters watched, amazed, as Mr. Hydeous won the big air event easily with a crossed-up 720 inverted and nailed a perfect landing. "If Hydeous is as good at crashed ice as he is at big air skiing, I'm doomed," Steiner muttered, as he walked with the others back to the LUV, where he and Wolf would suit up in protective ice hockey gear. "Hey, we're good too," Wolf said. "You are," Steiner grinned. "I'll be lucky if I make it to the finish line, but win or lose, downhill ice skating is gonna be a blast." "If you want my advice, don't look at Hydeous," Jinx joked. "Purple, green, and yellow. The colors alone will make his opponents sick. I bet it's his secret weapon." Soon Wolf, Steiner, Mr. Hydeous, and the other competitors were waiting at the top of the narrow ice-covered track. All the athletes were wearing full hockey gear, helmets to protect their heads, and gloves to protect their hands from the sharp skates of other racers. Chest puffed out, T. Rexford Snatley pompously introduced the crashed ice event, a timed free-for-all downhill slalom race on ice skates. "The event is new in Noah's Vail," he explained.
It's a dangerous, grueling test of each skater's skill, agility, strategy, and strength.
Steiner groaned inwardly. He knew he was strong, but would he be smart, skillful, and agile enough to make it to the bottom in one piece?
Before each heat, officials will verify that monsters are wearing their power neutralizer wristbands, so that humans and monsters can compete equally,
T-Rex continued.
6 groups of 6 skaters race each other down a narrow 400-meter-long track, zigzagging around flags and through gates. Any racer using hard physical contact to knock out another contestant will be disqualified.
T-Rex warned sternly.
The first skater to the bottom wins his heat. The 6 winners will then face each other in a final heat.
In the initial heats, neither Wolf, Steiner, nor Mr. Hydeous were to race against each other. Steiner watched Wolf win his heat. Without his monster powers, Wolf wasn't as strong as some of the others, but he was agile enough to avoid the tangle of sprawling bodies as several skaters collided and went down. Then it was Steiner's turn. He knew he might not have the skill to avoid the other skaters like Wolf did, but he was big and strong, even without his monster strength. Steiner shoved off and sped recklessly downhill as fast as his skates could carry him. His strategy paid off. He arrived first and in one piece. He won his heat. Steiner grinned. He figured he'd gotten really lucky. Then came several other heats won by human skaters Wolf and Steiner had just met. Finally, it was Mr. Hydeous' turn. Before his heat, he posed nonchalantly, holding his helmet, swigging from a team pendant sports bottle, and looking cool, while the photographer snapped his picture. Mr. Hydeous put on his helmet, and when the signal came, he was off like a shot. When several racers slipped in front of him, Mr. Hydeous leaped high in the air to clear them. When he landed, Hydeous glanced to his side. He flailed his arms as if to regain his balance, and the racer coming up beside Mr. Hydeous ran into his fist. Steiner was sure that Hydeous had not lost his balance, but instead had tried to knock down the other racer. The judges didn't see it that way. Hydeous won the race. Wolf and Steiner had never seen anyone skate like that without using some kind of powers. Wolf muttered,
"That Hydeous dude is truly amazing."
In almost no time, the final heat was about to begin. Steiner, Wolf, Mr. Hydeous, and the 3 human skaters lined up at their gates. The official, a skinny vampire, carefully checked the monster's power neutralizer wristbands. Then Steiner and Wolf gave each other a grinning thumbs up. The signal sounded, and the racers shoved off in a massive pumping arms and legs. Once again, Steiner skated aggressively, hoping to surge ahead the way he had in his first race. But he was facing the strongest and most skilled of the racers, 2 of whom had the same idea he had. To make things worse, the ice, riddled with deep-cut grooves from the earlier heats, was much harder to navigate. Steiner made it through the first gate. He rounded a hairpin turn and began zooming toward the second. 2 racers in front of him bumped and went down. Steiner threw himself to the side to avoid running over them. His feet went out from under him, and he slid like a hockey puck down the hill until he slammed into a sidewall. The impact made Steiner glad he was wearing all that padding. Wolf whipped by him, skillfully threading his way through the living obstacle course. At the same time, Mr. Hydeous made another fantastic leap over Wolf, and then sprawled human skaters. He landed in the lead and sped toward the bottom. Wolf raced after him with the human skater hot on his heels, but neither could catch Mr. Hydeous. Hydeous won crushed ice with seconds to spare. Wolf was bummed, but Steiner, who hadn't really expected to win anyway, was philosophical.
You're an inline skating expert, Wolf. Ice skating isn't your thing,
he said.
Besides, Mr. Hydeous is some kind of winter sports genius.
Mumford, Jinx, and Vail trotted up beside them. They all knew how much Wolf hated to lose. The group watched as Mr. Hydeous pulled off his yellow hockey helmet, shook out his long purple hair, and took a sip from his pendant sports bottle. He posed for the cameras, alone and with Damon Christopher.
I can't believe a guy can jump the way Hydeous jumps without using powers,
Wolf grumbled.
He thinks he's this cool superstar, Jinx said, but I think he looks greener and meaner and more like a long-tusked boar every time I see him.
Mumford stared at Mr. Hydeous with a puzzled frown. He did look greener, and his tusks did look longer, and his ears were pointier. But he also looked like, Mumford began.
Have any of you seen Gerald anywhere?
No, Vail grinned.
And I haven't missed him either.
Good riddance, Russ said.
Come on, let's get out of these pads. Then we'll watch Val beat Mr. Hydeous on the super pipe.